All right, everyone. Welcome to another Helm Dev Stand Up. Today is Valentine's Day. So February 14th, 2019. So first things we go through are announcements, then we go through a quick stand up, and then we just go through discussion items. And at the end of it, we do assignments for the next week. So let me quickly pull up the notes here. Actually, I don't have them, but announcements for today. The first thing to announce is that there was the Helm 2.13.0 release candidate number 1 that was released yesterday. So that's out there. There we go. Sorry, I just clicked on the wrong link here. And the developer meeting stuff. Okay. So the Helm repo working group call, that was canceled last week. So we actually, Josh, you can elaborate on this a little bit if you want to, but as
Sure.
well.
So we were talking for months, and I think finally we got what we wanted out of the discussions. So anything further we can talk about on these Thursday calls or on one-offs. And Steve has created a channel in the CNCF Slack called Artifact Registry, where kind of the next step in OCI specific discussions will continue, and he has people from Docker and AWS in there. So if you're interested in continuing the conversation, join that Slack. And but on the Helm side of things, I think we can bring it back to this call for those types of discussions.
I'll likely set up a weekly recurring call or something as well, but I think
Sure.
everything that happened here is kind of exactly what we all thought would happen. Is there's this group down in the OCI registry space that we want to make sure we can support all types, and the work that Josh and Shiwei and others did to help incubate all of that got us started, and now we can factor it back out that various teams can figure out what they need and then come back to that working group and say, hey, we need this, or how do we do this, and it could work in the appropriate groups. At least that's the goal.
Cool.
Perfect. All right. And then as well, there's also the Helm Summit update. So Michelle, I'm assuming this was you putting it on there, or?
I can speak to that. So
Okay.
we are currently, so Karen Chu is driving this. I asked her if she might drop by in the next few meetings and start doing these updates for us. But since she's not here, we are working with the CNCF to get priced out like a venue for September. They priced out both Milan and Amsterdam for us. They're both really expensive. So if your company is willing to sponsor or help sponsor the event, then let us know, because we will probably start getting sponsorship packages together. So that's still in flight. We just wanted to have a concrete idea of the venue stuff before starting all of the program committee and CFP stuff, although we're still working on the program committee stuff kind of alongside figuring out the venue. So that's what I have so far. If anybody has any questions, or if your company wants to sponsor Helm Summit, then let me know and I can get you in contact with the right CNCF folks. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay. So now quick stand up. Does anyone want to go first? Michelle?
I'll go first because I might have to drop off. So I did merge a few PRs this week. I also started on the Helm test command NTEP commands. Based on what I'm seeing so far, I think some of this stuff that we talked about in the proposal doesn't make a lot of sense based on some user experience stuff that I'm looking at now. So I'll have to write that up and I'll report back next week on it. But yeah, making some progress and touching Helm 3 stuff, so that's exciting. Adam, you want to go?
Yeah, so I just had one quick question for you, Michelle. So you're working on implementation right now, or are you still working on just fleshing out the proposal?
I just wanted to start doing, I'm on the POC phase. So now we have subcommands under test. I just wanted to flesh out what it looks and feels like. So for example, some of the assumptions we made around how we wanted to organize tests, we wanted to do all the tests under, all the success tests under a success test directory, test/success directory. And because people want suites of tests, that doesn't really make sense. We should have a whole directory for suites. So I'm just fleshing out what that looks like. and how performant these kinds of things are, these kinds of decisions are. Long answer for your question.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so this week, just working on a lot of PR reviews again. Also, got to write a little code yesterday, so working on the builder thing. I got a few hours of heads down coding time in, so that was good. Also had some meetings with Josh and Fisher, got up to speed on a lot of the OCI stuff going on. I'm going to try to start being more involved with that now that it's some parts of it are being implemented now. Just to make sure everything is going together smoothly and features don't stomp on each other with Helm 3. I think that's it. Go, Josh.
So yeah, I did talk with Adam and Matt Fisher a bit about registry stuff. I spent Friday putting together a GitHub doc that has a full overview of what's going on with the registry commands. I'll paste it in here in a minute. But it also has a section on how to get Helm 3 running locally. So maybe we want to take that somewhere else, or I'm not sure. I know I heard something a while ago about people doing releases on Helm 3. Is that still true, or like Jenkins? Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for me, actually. Taylor.
I did not get much done this past week, and just had some crazy stuff happen at work. So we'll be jumping back in. There's a distinct possibility I might be jumping onto some Helm 3 things, but I'm just working that out with Adam. So Adam and Butcher technically. So we'll see if I'll be on doing some of that. If not, I'll be jumping back into doing some issues and PRs probably tomorrow. Let's see. Butcher, have you gone?
Yep. I got the gRPC fix merged on the Helm 2 branch master, actually. So, and I think that got rolled into 2.13. I got Sprig updated this week with a whole bunch of PRs, and it looks like Sprig will get another release in the next week or two. So, but I don't. So if it happens between the RC1 and RC2, it might be worth doing, but otherwise we can just wait until 2.14 or 2.13.1.
Are these bug fixes? Sorry.
One of them is a fix for crypto rand to correctly generate random numbers. I had merged a PR before the guy was finished. I thought he had finished the last part of it, and he pinged me back right after the release and said, actually, there are a couple more things, so I can just merge that one, and that would make a good candidate for RC2 if that comes along quickly. And Matt Farina and I can check, since we're both admins on that repo. Then we can cut a 1.18.1 of Sprig and then roll that in as a bug fix release. So other thing was I reviewed Martin's patch yesterday, and I'll hand off to Martin right after this, because so Martin got the first phase of some of the library support done. So I just reviewed some of that work yesterday, and it's looking good. Martin, you want to go?
He messaged. Oh, he's here. Okay.
I'm just all over the place. Sorry, I'm just in transition of one laptop to another, so I'm having a bit of a meltdown here. So yeah, thanks for that, Matt, for reviewing that. So I was working on that patch for V3 with the first phase of the lib charts, as Matt said. I also delivered another V3 PR around some linting errors. So thanks to Adam for reviewing that, emerging it. Also was helping out Matt Fisher around V2 triaging of bugs, etc., and some PR reviews as well. So that's all for me. Who's next? Matt Fisher, is it? Sorry.
Yep. So nothing really to report. I've just been kind of going through the Helm 3 development cycle, just kind of getting comfortable with all the packages. The fun thing about moving package tiller out and kind of doing that refactoring is that you basically touch pretty much every single part of Helm, which has been actually really helpful for getting an understanding of where everything is. I'm not thinking anything will necessarily get merged anytime soon, but it is getting to be a really helpful educational experience for me. So going through that. Go, Farina.
Yeah, I think the notes mostly summed it up. I think I merged some PRs and reviewed a couple things like Butcher's thing, and mostly worked in some background stuff, just organizational things. Nothing exciting. Is there anyone else?
I think that's everyone here. Is there anyone that's outside of the core contributors that wanted to give a little stand up or anything?
I can go, though I didn't have much to say,
Oh, sorry,
apart from the fact that I wanted to spend some time reviewing Martin's library charts PR. I haven't had the time this week yet, but hopefully sometime today or tomorrow. That's all I had.
Okay. With that, we go into discussions. So Scott mentions here that the Helm Community Incubator page hasn't been updated in 2 years. Let's discuss what should be updated if that hasn't already been done somewhere. Did anyone here put that up or talk about that, or is that just being posted as a discussion item?
Got Scott's name on it, but he's
not here at the call.
He's not on the call. Okay. I'm actually not sure what the Helm Community Incubator page is.
Yeah, okay, so maybe I'll follow up with him offline and figure out what this is. Maybe we can delay it for another week until he can actually come to the meeting and figure out what that discussion item is.
Oh, I guess it's this.
I know there was a doc about sub-projects.
Okay.
Like Chart Museum and Monocular used to be in some different home.
That's right.
Yeah, this looks like a doc about incubation for Kubernetes and SIG apps, and probably not relevant anymore.
No, so what this was I remember this now. So Kubernetes had created an incubator setup, and that's how new things were coming in. In fact, Helm, I think, was the first project to go through incubation for Kubernetes. And we, under Helm, created something for our sub-projects like Monocular that followed along the same thing. I had almost completely forgotten about it, and you even see still references Kubernetes dev. We should probably clean this up.
Yeah, because at the time we had a bunch of projects that were kind of a bunch of smaller projects that were coming up underneath Helm. Like we had the Rudder project, and that group was talking about like many other things. So we were trying to figure out where's a home for all this. So that's why that was created. But yeah, we definitely need to update that.
So I'm looking on the doc. It actually has Carlos's name on it, even though it says Scott. So maybe they were talking about something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to do with the chart releaser tool. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we should talk about. How about this? I'll go create a straw man pull request to rewrite this. I mean, it still even has Brandon Phillips, Sarah Novotny, and Brian Grant at the top of it, right? That just kind of tells you how dated this is and where it comes from. So I can go ahead and take on writing a pull request to get just to straw man it and get the ball moving.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. So the next discussion item, Adam, you wanted to talk about the 2 LGTM policy for Dev v3?
Yeah, because all the stuff for V3 features are starting to make their way in. So I was just going to ask that we switch to a 2 LGTM policy just so we all are aware of what's going in, and also just because certain features overlap on each other a little bit, just so everybody's aware of what's going on. Just a 2 LGTM policy, I think, would be good.
Yeah, I have no issues with that. I think that's a good thing to move forward with. So I'm assuming then we probably, if we don't have any 2 LGTM policy in the documentation for Dev v3 in the contributing markdown, do we? maybe that should be an action item just to add that in there, so then we have that down. We can point others at that.
Yeah, we can update it in the branch too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got a general question about that too. So once you get the LGTMs, who's the correct person to merge it? The changer?
Whoever submit the request, if they're core, otherwise, one of the reviewers can merge it.
So if you have merge, the ability to merge it. Otherwise, one of the LGTM people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the standing thing for Helm has been, if you have the ability to merge, you got that merge button, then you do it for your own. And so if one or two people, they review it and you merge it, and you can make sure it passes CI and all those things. If you don't have that capability, like you're not one of the core folks, in that case, it's one of the people who review it will typically merge it. Or maybe they'll just review it and forget to merge it, and the person who did the PR has to come poke someone.
Yeah.
That's the way we do it.
Yeah, and the reason behind that was more of like not a policy thing, but more like, hey, I'm actually submitting it. I'm a core contributor, and when I'm doing it, there may or not be something that's in flight that I'm trying to refactor at that time as well, before it's gotten merged. Sometimes in the past, we've had a PR that goes out, and then it's gotten 2 LGTMs almost in rapid fire and then merged out. But then the person wasn't really ready to actually get that merged yet. So it's just kind of like a courtesy to the actual submitter. So yeah, the next one is status for Helm Summit 2019. I think Michelle covered that earlier today, so I think we can skip that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up actually was issue 2039. And for those who don't know it, I'll post it in the chat in a second here, which is cryptographically signing all of our Helm release assets. So basically in Circle CI or our CI system for when we're actually doing the release assets, it's all automated, but we don't actually sign the releases as we go through the whole release process. It's just, we do the checksum, we upload it all to Google Cloud Storage, but we don't actually do the signing. So I wanted to get some ideas. Matt Butcher, I know that you've worked with Tough recently and a couple of other things. Do you know of any ways that might be a good approach for this?
Yeah, I think ultimately we should switch to Notary for Helm 3, but the infrastructure required to set up Notary is not insubstantial. So I think a quick short-term solution, given that all the Helm core maintainers have at least had an opportunity to get their keys signed by each other. We have a fairly well-attested to set of PGP signing keys. We could just GPG sign for the remainder of the Helm 2 life cycle and focus on doing Tough via Notary, plain old vanilla Notary for the V3 cycle. That'll buy us a few months at least of time to get that kind of ironed out. Does that sound okay to people?
Well, it sounds good to me, but then again, you and I were just talking about it before this call.
Cool.
Is Scott on yet? Scott and I have talked about this a little bit in the past too.
Just to add to that, one of the things we were talking about is also the SHAs. We should probably have the SHAs on the release page as well. So the SHAs are not only on the domain where we host from, right? For the hashes. So you've got the hash on a separate domain in a separate space than where we have it. Because right now we keep the signatures just uploaded in the bucket. And then if we do those signed things, we can probably just upload those files into the release notes as things right on there as well.
Yeah, so GitHub does allow you to upload the checksums on there. The only reason why we were doing it on Google Cloud Storage was for analytics purposes, but I don't think we necessarily care too much about the checksum analytics. We can actually do the analytics on the release.
The get script automatically pulls the checksum and validates the checksum. That's why they're in the bucket. But we should put them in both places. I mean, it's a small chunk of information that can be used in a variety of ways. But
yeah,
that was why we decided to put them in the bucket, though, is so we can use that get script.
Yeah, and that makes sense with the get script. And when we do Notary, we can update all of that as well to get it from the new Notary location. But for now, having it in a separate location really means that we can just validate, hey, what's in both places should always remain the same. It'll say something if there's not, right? that really just helps us visually do forensics, right? That kind of stuff.
Excellent. So the last thing on here is supporting the delete resource policy in Helm 2. And that one is pointing at issue number 1592. Did anyone in particular bring this up and wanted to talk about this?
Hey, this is Jacob. That was me. I'm the author of the PR. I've been meaning to jump on the call for a little while now and bring this up, but this would be a really nice usability feature in Helm 2. Technically a breaking change, but this PR just allows you to change the behavior if your resource policy is explicit, delete all lowercase. Also, there was a recent PR that fixed resource policy during upgrade, and the logic there is a little bit different than the existing logic for installs or for deletes. So this unifies that logic as well. So like the upgrade logic doesn't only looks to see if resource policy matches exactly keep, which is going to end up deleting things that currently aren't deleted when you run Helm delete.
Yeah, I recall having, or I think Butcher and Adam and I all reviewed the earlier one on resource policy deletion, and it was because of that behavior of where if the presence of that resource policy was gone, then the behavior was ambiguous, or at least it was always the behavior of one particular action. So
yeah, it looked like there was pretty broad support and discussion of previous issues in PR for just an explicit delete being okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can I can take a look at that for sure. I've been taking a look at the PR queue, so I can take a closer look at that one.
Awesome. Much appreciated. Thanks.
And with that, I think that's everything on the discussion list. So is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up while we got 3 minutes, or is that all?
Yeah, hi guys. My name's Ian Howell. Me and my company are interested in Helm v3, and I was wondering if there's any way I can help out, or if you guys could point me to, any sort of tasks that need to be done.
Yeah, definitely the best way to start getting involved is showing up to this meeting. Also, there's a project on the GitHub repo. So if you go to projects, all the tasks are in there. Everything that's been kind of fleshed out into issues has been, there's been issues created and they're tagged V3.
Okay.
So you can look at those. Anything that you look at that seems interesting that you want to talk more about, feel free to ping me in Slack and I can discuss it with you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, everyone. Have a good Thursday and happy Valentine's Day to everyone.
Oh, did we do assignments?
Oh, assignments. Thank you. So assignments for this week. So does anyone want to take up issue Sherpa for the week? Do I have to volunteer someone?
I got the V3 side of things.
Okay. Yeah, since I'm going to already take a look at Jacob Legron's PR, I can take a look at the Helm 2 and do that for issue Sherpa. Moderator for next week.
I can do it since I bailed this week.
Thanks. And notes.
I'll take it this week or next week and make sure it'll work next week.
Perfect. All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.